Craig Cheatham came back, right?
Okay.
So he hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
And, it's like they went back to harken back, and you were there and I was there. I think it was
2013.
2013 in Boise.
You have 10 days.
You have 10 days. There was no declaration in that app, but he had a list, I think, of 40 items that he talked about. One thing I blogged about or kind of teased about was it was these list of things he had. Like, he'd like to see, MLS execs not to go to too many fancy dinners. It's like, is basically one of them. I'm like, let them eat Chipotle. It's like... This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the notorious Rob, and as always, my amazing co-host, the fabulous Greg Robertson, everybody.
Hola, everybody.
Hola.
I'm just back from CMLS, man.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we didn't talk about
Yeah,
the pre-show.
I just thought about that.
So we should just start with that.
Yeah, okay, let's start. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, how was it?
It was good. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
Okay, so it was in Canada, in Toronto, right? So it's a bit of a trip.
Is that the ugly?
No.
What's the ugly?
No, I'm getting to it. Telling a story here. So CMLS, it's in Toronto, and so another country. So getting there was kind of whatever. But I got to say two things about it. First of all, I would call it CMLS 2025 hot and sticky. Why would I say that? Well, it's a bit muggy there in Toronto. And I don't know. I mean, you've traveled before. Like when I've gone to Europe, it's like, do they have an aversion to air conditioning? Is there just something that they don't believe in it or just whatever? But I mean, this is a hotel, so you'd think that they would have air conditioning. No air conditioning. You'd think that the elevators would work. No. You think that the conference and the meetings would be held in a kind of a non, I thought by the time I got there that I would find the Minotaur in the middle of the maze of trying to get to the meeting place, the ballroom, right?
Okay.
It was hot and muggy. It was so bad that people on stage, you could see a shine on their face of sweating. Did Sunny did not tell you this?
She did, but I try to keep Sunny out of our shenanigans as much as possible.
Sunny did a great job. Now, what I will say, I mean, all those kind of things, right? The non-air conditioning, the travesty of like the elevators, the damn whatever. The content was great.
Okay.
Right. So I mean,
that's all Sunny.
Yeah, that's all Sunny. Okay, that's how we'll say it. So that's good.
Yeah.
I know they have some
she
sort
doesn't
of
control the hotel, but
right. No. But I mean, why can't you find a hotel that has working elevators and an air conditioning unit? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but no, put together a great conference. I got to moderate a panel on bold leadership, which with me was Anne Marie, Brad, one of Anne Marie's board of directors, Charisma, and Mary Jo. And we had a great time. The nice thing was I was the first one there.
Okay.
First one on, right? So it's like normally I'm dreading waiting for it, but it's like when you get it done, it was whatever.
Right.
And then they just had some interesting topics, and you can, to me, it was the first time that they're not the first time, but they're really leaning more into like MLS operations, right? That kind of stuff. So I thought that the content was great. I mean, as much as I could stand being in that ballroom.
So tell me a little bit about your topic of bold. What is bold leadership?
Right. So it's making tough choices, right? And that, we kind of expanded on that. And number one is that, you have to have enough, what are these kind of choices you're going to make? What kind of decisions you're going to make? But even before that, you got to make sure that you have like a board or a staff that's going to support that. So before you even go into that, you have to have those types of things. That's what Charisma was talking about. And then you have to have, if you're going to make these kind of decisions, you have to have the marketing department so that you make sure you get out the right information to everybody so that people understand what type of decision you're making, right? And then it makes sense and that, maybe there's an FAQ or something else. And then you also have to have some sort of ambassadors maybe in the time of now of social media There's going to be, people that get misinformation. That's why the communication is very important. That if you don't really get the communications right, from some Facebook group is going to start calling you names, and the next thing you know, it's going to be torches and pitchforks at the MLS door, right? Saying, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Right? So, and we just kind of went back and forth with different things on, doing it. I mean, some of the stuff was like, Anne Marie, of course, is like, she's been talking about like having separating that with two CEOs and what that means to make that type of decision. And she was kind of being forced to do that by, not forced, but she had her own timeline because she was going to retire and she wanted to make sure that get done. Brad was there to talk about, he owns his own technology, right? So there's some things about that, doing that. So his was more like related to like, technical things, like when they made a big switch to Amazon Web Services. Now, not a big deal for some people, right? But that can have some, if you screw that up, that's a thing. What if there's going to be a downtime? Maybe you have some communication really set up to say, hey, sorry about this, but we're working on it. We'll get it done. But, it's all those kind of things. So it was a good conversation.
So what's an example of a bold decision?
Well, I guess to me, because it was topical, I think the way Anne Marie classified it, she told me, was it's not really a divorce of the association of the MLS, but it's more like, it's that son in your basement that you have to push out of the nest to go, to survive on their own, right? So I think that was, one of the things of separating them and having two different CEOs. So that was one that, I think was topical right then in the first one we talked about.
All right. And what any other topics? Any other really interesting?
Craig Cheatham came back, right?
Okay.
So he hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
And, it's like they went back to harken back, and you were there and I was there. I think it was 2013 in Boise.
Yeah, you have 10 days.
You have 10 days. There was no declaration in that app, but he had a list, I think, of 40 items that he talked about. One thing I blogged about or kind of teased about was it was these list of things he had. Like he'd like to see, MLS execs not to go to too many fancy dinners. It's like is basically one of them. I'm like, let them eat Chipotle. It's like, like what an odd thing to say, right? There was some just things about that thing. He was less on like the consolidation stuff. He's like, if that's the only way we can make things work together, yes, consolidate. But if there's technical things they can do to help them get to the data better, that's cool as well. There was a letter that he had sent previously to CMLS talking about their need to getting, if they have the right to use MLS data for valuation purposes, how do they get that? Is because sometimes the rules behind the different ways of getting data, like IDX, VOW, or broker back office, say that, yeah, you get all the data, but then they're kind of shrouded or cloaked in some rules that doesn't really. So it's like he'd like to see some or really his big brokers would like to see some clarification on that to do that. And I have that letter. I'll post that in the show notes so people can read. I think there's something also. There's something also about more than just the letter, but some other ones. And I think also Danae posted the original letter that he put out in 2013. So maybe we'll put that in there to kind of go back against. And then in the backdrop of everything, there's it seems to be a thing where they see this is the last year that Danae was up there, and everybody's very generous with it being her last CMLS, and that the search for the new CEO has been put on pause. And while it seems like that they're discussing a possible merger between CMLS and Rizzo, right? And I've been on record that I think this is a good idea, but we'll kind of see about that. And part of that, to me, why I think it's a good idea is that there's CMLS has been working on this new policies for MLSs because it seems like NAR is going to possibly get out of that business, and they need to be prepared. So Mitch and a committee has put together, and they put the first draft of that online. I think I can link that in the show notes. And so, a mix of policy and technology to me kind of makes sense, but I'm sure I know there's other people on the other side of this think that's the stupidest idea ever. And what else? No, it's like CMLS, man. It's just great to see everybody.
Right.
RE Technology, Victor and Maryland's thing had a great party with a live band, so I got to go on the dance floor for that, and the lobby bar was active.
All right.
And there was the boat. They had a party on the boat on Monday, so it was just besides just no air conditioning and elevators and whatever else. It was a great time for sure.
Plus
Toronto's a great city too. I mean, downtown Toronto, a lot of people out walking, going back and forth to buildings. It was just fantastic. Yeah.
All right. So I'm always interested in lobby bar. I mean, this happened right after the whole Compass thing. So what were the topics? What were people talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you and I kind of think about these things in a this is going to be so big or whatever. From the MLSs, I didn't really get like they were that concerned about this at all. It's just, it's going to take some time. We'll see what happens. We always deal with these kind of issues. They're never what everybody thinks it is, and they take a lot longer to happen. It's not a time to panic or make any rash decisions now, right? I was just very, very surprised because we're podcasters and bloggers and writers. We're pundits of this industry, but when you get down to a level, it's like they're like, huh, when we have to deal with it, we'll deal with it. We're dealing with things all live long day, so we'll see what happens here, right? So it's a very pragmatic approach that I heard to some things there. Vendors are just they're always concerned about everything else. It's just trying to get some deals done. Wishing that the market would change in some way. Just not a lot of movement. I mean, not a lot of movement, but everybody's having their, they're going out to their clients with dinner and things like that, but not too much. I mean, I still think there's still more of a push towards MLS-led technology kind of solutions there. So that's causing some of the vendors.
What does that mean?
It means MLSs are coming up with their own technology and they want to sell it to others.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Right. So, Bright announced something to do with OcuSells, a partnership there, and their own Bright solutions. I've been working obviously with ARMLS and their MLS Aligned and Aligned Showing Solutions.
Right.
And there's some other MLSs that I know that are thinking about doing some other things there. So it's a weird situation I can imagine, for the MLS system vendors. Like, your client, in some regards, this becomes your competition too. So there's a little bit every trying to navigate that type of things. And then you hear rumors of like, this person's not happy, they're going to go to this company. The normal nonsense of that type of thing. Those kind of rumors.
So interesting. So no one was really talking about the deal of the century.
Well, they were, but it's like, I mean, again, it's very pragmatic. I mean, they, what do they do now? There's nothing. It's not even going to be closed for a year, right? There's going to be a lot of consternation in between time. So, I mean, what do they have to work on, right? I mean, there's got 4 lawsuits going on now, right? Northwest MLS has got a lawsuit, the Zillow lawsuits.
Well, I mean, are they going to enforce CCP?
I think they already are enforcing CCP.
They are enforcing.
Yeah.
Well,
Again,
I mean,
in your enforcement,
not.
remember your enforcement. The way these things are enforced in MLS is one agent tattles on another.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what happens, right?
Well, no, that's how you find out about the violation. The enforcement's a separate matter. Right.
Correct. Yeah, but I mean, that finding out is part of enforcement, right? If you don't understand what's happening out there, you can't do anything, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, could we get into the weeds of like? I don't think there was a panel on. Are you enforcing? I don't think they would say it that way anyway, right? So you'd have to go to the nitty gritty. That's that's a good lobby bot. That's a good lobby bar fodder for me to kind of like, are you guys, are you really enforcing this, or I think they would have to, because the agent's just going to say, so what happened? Right, and then they'd have to tell the agent, oh, we're not enforcing it, or we just slapped him on the wrist or something. That'd cause the agent to be pissed off, and an agent's pissed off is like a pain in the ass, right? So. My thing is like, if an agent calls up and is complaining about some practice another agent's doing, and the MLS does nothing about it, then the MLS is going to have a problem, right? So they're going to have to figure out how to either solve that or or come up with a new policy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was like these giant fines, right? So, I mean,
Well, some are, some aren't. I mean, it depends on, and it's per MLS, right? Some are,
right.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. So, what else went on? Like, what else did you pick up? I mean, I know you want to talk about kind of the impact on vendors. So
yeah, I mean, that
that
could be a larger thing.
So let's just start it with, okay, so you talk to MLS people, obviously, but you also talk to vendors because you're Vendor Alley, right? Like, what were those guys talking about with the deal of the century?
So, okay, let's just level set everything, right? So, in that case, in that arena, right?
Of vendors.
Of vendors in CMLS, especially.
Yeah.
These are vendors either providing services to or selling to, the MLS execs in that arena, right?
Right.
Number one, the topic has just always been the glacier pace
Right.
of getting anything done, right? And that's been a complaint from from the beginning of time, right? And that doesn't appear to be, it's still a valid complaint, right? It is a little bit better than it was. I think right after all these lawsuits came, it was just frozen. It's not frozen anymore, but it's still those icebergs are breaking apart and kind of moving down the river a little bit.
Okay.
So that's the number one thing. The number two thing is just how hard it is to get anybody to change. The fear of change, just of the, if you're an incumbent, you've got such a huge advantage of anything there. You have to, it's got to be something kind of crazy for them to switch or to add something on or something, right? So there's that, right? There's also like I think in some vendor circles, if they already haven't, it's like, how long can they hold on?
Can who hold on? The vendors?
The vendors, right? Because, without a bigger deal or without anything else, I mean, it takes a while to get these things going. And then once you get signed, then it takes something to get it launched. And then you get that kind of thing. So I think especially a lot of new vendors, I think come into the space and I think it's like, okay, a couple steak dinners,
Right,
I'll bring the contract to me at the office and we'll have them sign it there. It's like, dude, that is not how it works, man. And the new guys are kind of working with the older not older, but the more seasoned the new prop tech guys have a mindset of like how it should be done.
Yeah.
The people that they're hiring within the industry, no, that's not what they've done, but they don't want to hear that.
Right.
No, we need to, what's your pipeline for Q3?
Right.
And the standard response from anybody who's seasoned vendor in the real estate space is, what year are you talking about?
Correct. Right.
Right. And they're like, what do you mean? Well,
2030?
this year, man,
Yeah.
you got to close, man.
Yeah.
It's just ignorance about how things work. Right.
Yeah.
So, there's that. What else? A little bit about AI. I think it's starting to kind of pop up there also, but it's like, and I think there's an opportunity there. Some of the vendors coming up with some new tech AI wise might upsurp the incumbents, but it's theirs to lose, right? It's just so, sitting pretty. MLSs are still, and they've been complaining about this a lot, but I think they complain more now. It's just the customer service they get from the incumbents, but it still isn't forcing them to move, right? I mean, not really. There is a lot more conversations going with MLSs, though, that are, they are open. They realize, there has to be a change as far as the governance structure of associations and MLSs. And in some cases not. I mean, some cases they've kind of figured it out, right? And they have a good system set up. But in most cases, they know that that's going to be something on that they have to kind of decide about, right? So that's more open. Before you couldn't really say that with like, oh, it's crazy. Now it's not so crazy, Rob. It just took, took 10 years.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
That's when I gave that speech. And here we are in 2025, So maybe by 2026,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what do the vendors think about the deal of the century? Or do they not think about it because they're just on a different sales cycle? They're dealing with MLSs,
Well, when I was talking about that, I was mostly not thinking on the MLS side. I was thinking on the brokerage side, right? So I think there's kind of some that are making that, trying to get that kind of more. Most of the bigger vendors, and I'm talking about the inside real estates, the Lone Wolves and Moxie, if they're not even a player anymore, and those kind of in that thing, and others, Lofty or whatever the kind of single CRMs are, and this happened to us at Cloud CMA and everything else is like, there was deals to be done with either the franchisor, like Anywhere, or with the individual franchisees to provide technology to those franchisees, like the Better Homes and Gardens or the ERAs or the Century 21s, or on a bigger license with a. So that I know there's an ecosystem of like there's always vendors under there vying for, those kind of larger distribution deals. Sometimes they're not even. Sometimes they're just distribution deals where it's a small fee and then they try to upsell those services, right? Remax, all those kind of. They have an approved supplier program or whatever. But with this consolidation with Compass, it seems like that is going to be dry, right? So the ones that have had deals or that had deals in the pipeline, I'm sure they've gone back to their forecasting and goes, that's not happening, right? Number one, for just they're going through an acquisition and it gets reset. It's almost like, the tough part about that business always is, especially the franchisors, is like it's a rotating, C-suite, right? So you think you've got your champion, you've done the 10 meetings and you got this thing, and then that guy's gone.
Right.
Well, think about this. The whole company's gone, right? So anywhere, pardon the pun, anywhere within the company, whether it's, one of the franchisees or the Anywhere itself is probably just, has been kiboshed. I mean, it doesn't. So, having worked for Lone Wolf, and I know how they operate as far as like we have your sales meetings and you present your pipeline and what you're doing. It's like anybody that had like an Anywhere franchisor in the top line was like, it ain't happening now, right?
Right.
And then, some other things are taken like the way that EXP is doing it now, where they're like, bring what you want. Like it's like that bring your own device kind of thing where it's you got an iPhone, you got a BlackBerry, whatever, we'll make it work with our system. So I think companies like ESP are saying, whatever you want to use, we'll have hooks and APIs within our system that will work with whatever you're working with, right? So they're not doing any larger deals or probably
no enterprise deals.
Right. So the enterprise deals are probably, getting a little bit different. And typically what you see is that it's very rare when an enterprise sales is you have a guy that can do both the franchisor and broker channel and the MLS channel. Typically you see it's MLS channel and then you have mostly people working the broker channel and then maybe a subset of those can handle the franchise or franchisors on those larger deals. But I mean, it's typically that, right? It's usually 3 distinct enterprise sales components there, and that's just I think in disarray now with the Compass news.
So how one of the complaints of brokerages forever and ever has been that they're competing against the MLS in terms of technology.
Yeah, I think and Craig Cheatham was one of on his list, right?
Oh, was. So it's still a thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels to me like MLSs are doing more and more of those enterprise deals because the MLS want to add value. Right? Is that a thing? You know
what it seems to me like is they're building their own tech.
Well, I mean, some are, but a lot of them are doing sort of these big enterprise deals, right?
Not a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's been pretty locked down for a while now. They've had stuff, right? But it's not. You don't read a lot about that. And if they're doing it in some sort of fashion where it's more of a pay to play and or a usage based kind of things, right? I mean, that's different from and I think Craig Cheatham put this in his letter, like, well, showing services, yes, of course you can do that. And there's some carve outs for that, but don't be doing other things, which he didn't really lay out.
CRM and transaction management.
Who knows? Yeah.
All right. Okay. So no real impact yet. None of those guys.
No, but again, we talked about this before, and I was surprised that our other guest earlier today didn't read this, but if indeed that, as Brian Barrero kind of his take on things is with AI, just like the internet, The internet didn't make less agents; it made more agents, and maybe AI does the same thing. It boosts agents. So his prediction was, what, 2 million by 2030, right? So which
Right.
is not that far away, 6 years.
Right.
I mean, if you there could be an argument if you believe in that kind of abundance, if you believe that there's going to be that type of thing,
Yeah.
you should be doubling down now to kind of if you can take advantage of that, right? So and it would be a big boon to NAR. It would be a big boon to the MLSs as far as that's just more membership revenue if they can keep relevant. And that does indeed happen. They'll be the winner of the spoils there.
So 2 million realtors. So we're talking 2 home sales per realtor.
Well, it doesn't happen that way now, but I mean, there's going to be some sort of split.
There's 4 million homes sold right now. So if you go to 2 million realtors,
Yeah, but I mean, they're not sold by the 1.4 million realtors we have now, right? It's a subset.
It's a tiny subset. So why does Brian think it'll go to 2?
I think Brian looks at it as like it's such a easy side gig for most people. It doesn't cost a lot to get into it, and with AI, they can kind of run it on a process.
Yeah,
and therefore, it's going to make it a more attractive side gig.
Yeah. So you don't have to know anything about real estate. Just ask ChatGPT, and it'll spit out some contract that you pass on to your client.
Yeah, you say it that way, but like there was an interview I just saw with some guy, famous VC, and the interview was asking, it was a young kid, what would you tell young kids to kind of study now? I mean, how would you tell them to do? And and I think there's a lot of companies that have come out. Apple just came out and says we're not requiring a college degree, right? You talk about this a bit.
Yeah.
And what they want people to be is a generalist. They want people to know how to learn, get better at learning, right? That's the skill of the future, right? So that you can like go into anything and you can use this assistant, this ChatGPT or whatever it is, and you'll be able to be proficient enough in that to kind of, do that job or whatever, right? So in the future, this VC guy was saying is that students should be generalists, and there's going to be a lot less of specialists out there, but more people that are generally bright, have agency, and can kind of make things happen, right?
I don't know what that means. Like, you mean like, so because this the big question with all of that is like, okay, and again, I'm not saying you're saying this. Let's be clear, right?
Yeah.
But Brian thinks, okay, we're gonna have 2 million realtors by whatever, right?
2030, yeah.
By 2030, because AI makes it so much easier to just get into the business.
And he was saying that that he's likening that to the internet. The internet, everybody thought the internet was going to destroy the number of agents, and it really doubled them. Yeah.
True. Right. Doubled the number of agents, did not double the number of transactions.
Nope. Still didn't matter. Didn't matter. Yeah.
Right. Because real estate is just about hope springs eternal, and maybe you get a lottery ticket.
Very aspirational.
Okay. Very aspirational. All right. So go to 2 million because of the existence of AI. I feel like this is a little bit different than the internet exists, right? A little bit different. Because when the internet came about, the thought was like a lot of self-serve. And then people realized actually real estate's a real pain in the ass. I don't want to self-serve this, right? Like I'll look at houses, but I don't want to deal with the transaction. With AI, isn't the idea that it'll make the transaction so easy, right? That as long as you're a generalist and you're reasonably smart and you know how to learn, then you could do a transaction by using AI. I guess I've always wondered, okay, so why wouldn't the consumer just do it directly using this smart AI thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's his take, that's your take, right? I mean, there's different takes on it for sure.
Right. So, okay. We should have Brian on. Hey,
I
Brian.
loved it. I loved it. I got to say, I just love anybody that's kind of thinking a bit differently from the, contrarian to whatever, which, I mean, you have a lot of experience in, but on a very optimistic kind of note, right? I mean,
thing is, I don't think I'm a contrarian. I don't think I'm any of those things. I think I'm just like, I just look at fundamentals, right? Like human nature hasn't changed. So this is why I've always said, like, agents aren't going anywhere, right? My thesis is very different. My thesis is that agents aren't going anywhere because real estate is very emotional. It's a big decision, and human beings have a need for approval from other human beings, right? Especially one that they consider to be an expert. So I feel like it's sort of a similar thing. So I don't think the AI is going to destroy agents. Like I don't I just don't see it. But conversely, I don't know that it means that because of AI, we're now going to see, 4 million realtors. Like, why 2 million? Why not 4 million? Do you know what I mean?
I guess he was kind of, in the fact that I said they doubled the amount of realtors back from before the internet.
Yeah,
It wasn't exactly double, so
Yeah.
I think he's just taking that thing as like it's 1.4 now. It'll get to 2 million, right? I mean,
Okay.
he's just using that as a reference.
It's a reasonable estimate.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. That's intriguing. But the countervailing force, of course, is, that like this deal completely changed the structure of the industry. So, is the thinking that these 2 million realtors will work for like 10 companies?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this deal. What do you mean this deal?
The Compass deal.
No, I don't think it was really related. I think he came out with that before the Compass deal was
Okay,
was
so you're
announced.
just thinking impact of
Yes.
AI.
Yeah.
The general theme is whenever there's this like revolutionary technology, it increased the number of realtors.
Yeah, I mean, it did with the internet for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So therefore, with AI, it'll increase it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we could talk about, God, I mean, the AI stuff is just more and more you see this stuff. It's, let's talk about that, right? I mean,
Sure.
Open Door,
Sure.
right? The new CEO of Open Door
Yeah.
put out he basically took a snapshot of a internal memo that he sent to all his employees at Open Door. First of all, the first thing they did was, and they'd rumored about this, of like laying off 85% of the company, right?
Right.
And how do you do that? You tell everybody it's hey, from now on it's work from home. Oh, sorry, it's work from the office. So if you can get to the office, that's great. We'd love to have you, but if you can't, sorry, go with God, right? That's just the easy way of like doing layoffs without doing layoffs, right?
Sure.
So they did that. They're in the process of doing that, and then his whole thing was like this internal message he sent to his team. He also reposted on Twitter of that we are now going to be an AI first company, and that's should be your default method of working is going to AI first.
Okay.
And that caused, and we'll put a link to this in the show notes, a bit of chatter on the things like with like a lot of this open guys were like, hell yeah, let's do it, right? And then there were skeptics like me, like, okay, you're flipping houses, man. What is this nonsense, right? Of whatever. And even when I talked to Cole and Dan here in the office, and they're like, they think my take is a little bit harsh. I mean, all he's saying is like, hey, make sure that you're using AI to its fullest now, because that's going to help. I mean, if I'm sure, for instance, if we were going to be an AI forward podcast, what you and I would do first is we go to AI and say, how do we have the best podcast on this topic? It would give us a lot of stuff, and like we'd be way more prepared, probably, and it might actually turn out to be a better podcast. I like the randomness of our our non-preparedness, right? Well, it might. In other industries, it might, right? So I get the sentiment there, but
this is super interesting because you talk like, it's still at such a level of abstraction and generality. You take it down one level. I want to take it down like multiple levels.
Okay.
Right. What I'm curious about is, okay, so I work for Open Door.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to be AI first, right? So let's walk through that. Some user comes to my website, says, I'm interested in selling you my home. Right? Okay. So I'm trying to think of the current process. I think you go online, you like describe, you enter an address, you upload some photos, right? And then right now the process, somebody calls you back or you get a quote instant offer, right? Saying, okay, cool, that house will pay you $300,000, whatever it is.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. CoreLogic is now Cotality. Same trusted technology and data, just with a new name that reflects their mission to unify property professionals, strengthen industry relationships, and drive innovation globally. Cotality powers tools you already know and love, like Matrix, the gold standard for MLS systems. There's One Home for agents who want to give their clients a more personalized collaboration experience. MLS Touch keeps you connected to the MLS no matter where you are. Realist gives you the insights to stand out as the local expert and tools to fill your funnel with high-value leads. The new One Homeowner platform keeps you top of mind and delivers value long after the deal is done. Learn more at Cotality.com. Our thanks to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations.
All right. I guess we're just having a day of technical difficulties. But, all right. So what I was saying is, the next step after this automated instant offer, right, is for some sort of physical inspection of the property. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
That, again, just like Carvana, just like, any of these types of things. Okay. What does AI first look like there? Like, that's what I'm curious about. Like, okay, fine. Open door AI first. What does AI first look like in that process?
I think I know some other companies are doing this where they're taking cameras in there and they're scanning. So it doesn't have to take an inspector really, but more of a camera operator go in there, check things out, and then the AI does the assertion of like what kind of reno this needs or something.
Okay. So you combine that with one of the big things that Open Door announced before the CEO, before all these changes, right? Was they're going to work much more closely with agents.
Right.
So effectively, and again, I don't know, but let's just assume it's something like you're an agent, you get a referral from Open Door, right? For a listing, right? So you walk in to the seller, hey, here's an instant offer from Open Door, which you got, right? And I need to now talk to you. Like, I'm going to walk around your house with this camera app or whatever. It's going to take video, all these photos. It allows the AI to, like, adjust the offer, right? And, oh, by the way, let me talk to you about listing your house, right? Like, that's how the process is going to go? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'm thinking you're probably, this is a little bit off topic or on topic, but you were saying Open Door shouldn't flip these houses, right? They should just buy them and put them right back on the market.
Right, as is.
And what's the value the value proposition is good for the seller.
Yep.
Right? But what's good for the buyer?
It's cheaper.
Okay, it's cheaper, right? Okay, so, but how does Open Door make money in that situation?
They just take a smaller cut, right? So in other words, like Open Door goes in, okay, here's the house. It needs $30,000 worth of repairs, right? Something like that,
right?
So we're going to cut the price by $35,000, right? And the seller says, you know what, I'll take it because I'm in a hurry, whatever. Like most, and I think what we found out from lots of years of history, 9 out of 10 sellers say, thanks, but no thanks. I'll do it, I'll sell on my own.
Right.
The 1 out of 10 says, okay, fine, I'll take it because I don't want to be bothered, right? Cool. So you now bought the house for $35,000 less, right, than list price or whatever it's worth, okay? You immediately turn around and go, here's a house. It needs $30,000 worth of repairs, and we'll sell it for whatever, that plus $5,000. Right?
Right, okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, if there's, so you're hoping that appeal of it selling faster is, there's some enough for later on.
What I mean is as market maker, you're supposed to make like a tiny sliver, right? And just do a lot more transactions, right? The flipping model is not that at all. Flipping model is you buy low, you improve it, you make it ready, and then you sell it for a lot more, right? That's the flipping model.
So do you think that by offering this type of service, it's going to increase mobility? Because if they have to make it up in volume, there has to be houses where they're going to go buy as well, right? I mean, and we're still dealing with a lot of shortages here in housing, right?
Right. But
so I'm not sure if like the volume play is really, if that's a smart one either, right?
I don't know.
Smart, but it's just tough. Yeah,
right.
It's just
I don't
tough.
know. But if Open Door's laying off 80% of its staff, okay, then whoever's left, presumably they're not sending employees out to do physical inspections, right? You're going to use AI, you're going to use agents, you're going to use cameras. Okay, fine. All right, and after all that's done, are you still going to be like, okay, say we got the house for what we thought, right? Like the AI says, hey, it needs $30,000 worth of repairs. The house is worth $500. we're going to offer you 450 anyway because we need a margin. Now we're going to offer you 420, right?
Yeah.
The seller says, okay, I don't really bother. Here it is. Here's the house. Okay, now Open Door bought the house for 420. Okay, are you going to now put in $30,000 with repairs, right? And then have the holding costs, mow the lawn, all that shit for another however long it takes for a buyer to come in and buy it at market value? Like, I don't know what AI can do for that, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, and then just as you talk about it, it's like, I think a majority of buyers want turnkey. They don't want to buy a house and like, now I got to do a lot of work, right? I mean, so you got that type of headwind as well, right? I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's like, that's a pain in the ass, but it's also a pain in the ass for a buyer.
That's right.
Right. So it's like, by offloading that to the buyer, is that the right solution, right?
I don't know. So look, I mean, I'm sure those guys are smart. They could, like, just off the top of my head, baby, then it's like, look, here's the deal. You could buy this house for $450 right now, right? Or whatever. We paid $420. You could buy it for $425. Okay, significant discount. Or you could buy it for $465, right? And we'll deliver it ready.
Right, so kind of a a la carte option, right?
In other words, like, so you don't have to go find contractors. We've got all those relations. We have contractors. We have carpet people. We have all.
Do I get to choose the carpet? Do I get to choose the granite tannin?
Of course not.
Yeah. See.
Oh, you want to do that? Oh no, you can. That now it's $485.
Right. So you're really not getting out of the flip. I mean, in fact, you're expanding it, because before you could just, we're flipping where you're just in charge of it, and I'm putting in the medium carpet, the medium paint, and then now, so you have as is,
ready for
bare
delivery.
Minimum, ready for delivery, or
custom.
The custom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's up to you, buyer, which one do you want, right?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like an internet. That's that's kind of what they have now, except the sans the other one, right? And they couldn't make money doing that.
The difference is this: now Open Door doesn't take the risk, right?
Well, they don't take they take the risk of like putting a product out on the market that nobody wants.
Sure,
right? That first tier.
But you could say, here, look, option one, you could have it as is for way less than market. Option two, we'll deliver it after an Open Door makeover, right? To your point, whatever, builder grade shit, bleach carpet, white walls, right? That's $450. And then option three, custom for $450 plus whatever your order is, right?
Right.
And so you go in, there's some color palette, there's whatever, right? It's like almost like a new construction, right?
Right.
And you like pick and choose. Like, if anyone's ever bought a Porsche or gone to Porsche.com and spec'd out a build, it's a little bit like there's so many fucking options. You could like pick the color of the seat belt and all this stuff. So it's like, that's $700 here, $2,000 here, whatever. And then at the end of it, it's like, okay, cool. Here's your beautiful dream home, $550. Right. But now Open Door's doing the work and they got paid. Do you know what I'm saying? So the risk is nowhere near the same. And now you have a buyer like after 60 days, right? It's like locked in, something like that. Now, that's a completely different business model.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would, the way I would do it, Rob, is I would do it where all Open Door does is we just facilitate. We're a market maker in a sense, right? We just facilitate sellers selling houses, and then buyers buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, you want whatever else? Contact that guy. Right. It's like, if you want to, all I'm doing here is this. All I'm doing is like buying houses really quickly, and then getting them, and then putting them on the market really quickly.
Right.
And it's serving people that don't want people trampling their houses. They're obviously amplifying convenience and certainty.
Right.
And then I'm selling to people who are basically amplifying cheap.
Right.
And affordable, and aren't afraid to do their work. Do some work or get somebody else.
I think
otherwise,
that's a sweet spot
you can partner with we partner with this guy and that guy, right? Yeah. And go with God. Curbio, right? That's one company, or some other companies that do those types of things, right? And those guys can prove to you, oh yeah, no, if we do this, it'll be worth this much more, and if we do this, it'll be worth. Right. But that's not us. we're just buying houses and putting them on the market. If you want to like do something with it, go talk to those guys. Maybe I get some sort of marketing fee from them or a rev share or something else, right? But just I would say constrain what they're doing. Put some constraints on yourself of exactly what it is, and everything else you partner with. There's other people that are probably better at that than you are, right?
I agree.
And that streamlines everything. I think it streamlines everything, right?
That's a market maker, and like I said, I mean, what makes sense is for Open Door to be like, again, and this is where things get really tricky. They have to create some sort of seller finance mortgage product. So if I'm a buyer, I say, okay, I will buy this house for whatever, for 25, right, or whatever it is. It's like, click this button. Here's your mortgage. It's been approved.
Yeah.
No appraisal, no nothing, right?
Yeah, because we control. Yeah, and we control that, so
Right.
they can. That's where the money's going to be made
Right.
anyway, right? So if you that's this is good. So we just buy your house at a discount. You don't have to do damn thing. You get the hell out of here. Here's your check. Buy. Right.
It's
Second
like-
thing is
Not even. So what it really is here's a house. Here's a seller who says, I'm willing to sell my house to you, right? And then that same house, here's a buyer who would buy that house, right? And Open Door just gets in the middle, right? Says, okay, seller, here's cash. Goodbye. Buyer, here's a mortgage.
yeah, if
It's
the
a
timing
simultaneous
works out,
closing.
but you don't know that timing might not work out.
The timing might not work out. And especially given what Open Door went down with, we're going to get rid of our employees and just rely on real estate agents, the timing's going to work out even less now,
Yeah.
right? Because the listing agent now has this vested interest. Don't sell to Open Door for $425. What are you doing? I can sell this for you for $480 or $500. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I still think that they should offer. I mean, why would you say no to people that have got buyers waiting? I mean, give them something. It might not be 1%, maybe it's a 0.5%. I don't
Whatever
know,
it is.
But
Right.
but do something there, right?
Whatever
because
it is. Right.
because what you can do there is that I like the fact of like the only way you can buy a home is getting a mortgage through us, right? That's part of built into the pricing, right?
Right.
Because then you even have more room to discount. You have
Right.
more thing. You have because you have more more equity or
Right,
more
right. Or whatever
state profit in the game.
Right,
yeah.
whatever it is. But my larger point is, none of that feels affected by AI first. Right?
Right.
None of that. I'm like, you
Yeah.
can do that now. Like what, AI first doesn't really do anything for any of that. So when you dig down to kind of the details, so you were talking about if we became an AI first podcast, maybe we better. Would we? Like I don't like when you think about what it is that we do, you and I get on a Zoom, and then assuming no major technical glitches, we just yammer at each other for an hour or whatever. How is AI going to change that? Right?
I think like anything else, it's a tool, right? So just leverage the AI as a tool more often. I mean, one thing now I have like Tabby, my assistant, do for me.
Yeah.
When I'm doing listing bits or somebody that I don't know about.
Right.
She'll go on AI and the web, and she'll do me a kind of dossier on that person, right? Something I should have done in the past, I wouldn't do. I just
Right.
kind of knew this
Right.
person tangentially. It makes a better podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm more educated.
Yeah.
So it's just using. I mean, it's not like it's more of like make sure you're leveraging AI more than you are now, right? I mean, I could probably do that a bit more. What I leverage AI for now is just proofreading.
Right.
And things like that, right? I mean, but I could definitely use it in more ways than I am,
Right.
and try to insert it into my workflow more than I am, and that would probably make me more productive for
right.
sure.
So you
I
know
think
what?
that's the message. Yeah.
The next topic that we pick, right? We're gonna go AI first. See what happens. Right.
Okay.
Like you and I both will like have ChatGPT open while we're yammering, and then like type it in or something, and then see what it spits out.
Okay.
See if that.
Well,
improves the
in that
podcast.
case, Rob, we're gonna have to like actually have a topic ahead of time instead of like getting on this thing and go, "What are we gonna talk about?"
I know, but that's the point of AI, right? So what we're gonna talk about NAR, whatever, blah blah blah. Okay, we're gonna type into ChatGPT, boom, it'll pull it up, start the show. Here's what AI told us about X, Y, Z. See
Okay.
if that
All right.
improves
Yeah, it's a
things.
good experiment.
Yeah,
It's a good
let's
experiment.
see if that works.
Yeah.
I don't know. All of this to say, like, let me pivot it a little bit back to kind of where we began this, which is CMLS, right? I keep wondering. One of my thoughts was AI. One of the places where it would be the most impactful is the MLS, but I don't know if anyone's talking about that, right? Like, what workflow is there in the MLS, in the operations of MLS, that cannot be AI first?
I guess you could have AI render what a house looks like based on your description, but it's better to have a photo, right?
But the MLS doesn't do that. The agents do that.
Okay.
Right? The agent uploads all the information. They enter the info, they upload photos. So from an MLS operation standpoint, I'm like, the biggest one obviously is compliance.
Right, yeah, which is
Right.
what a lot of tools are being introduced now, right? They're looking at photos and making sure that there's no signs or some of the stuff that are compliance. And that's an industry right now. There's a lot, Retsby, there's a lot of companies looking at that. Yeah.
Right. So that's my thing. It's like, okay, what other, in the operation of the MLS, who was it that was mentioning this? Was it you or? Yeah, no, you were mentioning.
Maybe it's Cole. Maybe it was Cole.
No. It was you talking about on your panel, the bold decisions. One of the things you have to do is have this communication strategy and plan in place.
Yeah,
So
that would be great.
Do you need a human for that? Can that
For a
be AI
communication
first?
strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everything in this AI first is like it involves a human, right? So it's like what you should do in there is write a prompt saying, okay, I'm an MLS, right?
Right.
I have this many members. We have this thing. This is what the problem has been. This is how we've chosen to to do the solution.
Right.
Here's the
our
website
bold-
about that product.
Here's our bold decision.
Here's
right?
whatever. Write me a month long content marketing plan, 2 emails a week for 4 weeks that I can send to my membership to make sure that they are properly communicated about this decision. And then please also recommend other ways that I can communicate with my membership. And then it would probably spit out you a freaking pretty cool document.
I guess what I'm getting is like, that's only step one. Step two is obviously just do it.
Well, then you can have it. Okay, write those emails for me, right?
Right.
You would
And
just
send them
keep
out.
going. Yeah.
Right. So that's the
Yeah, exactly.
agentic AI, right? So
Yeah.
I assume,
mean, the agentic would be that. We're not there yet, but yeah.
but I assume there are vendors in the MLS space who are working on that, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I mean, how many MLSs at that point would need more than the CEO?
Oh, you still need people for sure.
Why? What do they do?
Well, you got write the prompts,
the
execute,
CEO
make sure
writes
everything's
the
okay.
prompts.
No, the CEO is going to write. CEO is not going to write a prompt. I mean, that's a marketing person or somebody with that kind of background.
Okay, let me put it differently. Why, if I'm an MLS board, why would I not hire a CEO who's a prompt expert? Because
Yeah,
the
good question.
CEO could then have agentic AI do everything else.
Well, again, this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. It's like the jobs of the future are people that are good at learning or knowing, knowing how to learn, right? So
Right.
you want that has all these different things that could say, okay, this is my job today. I'm going to go on AI and learn about, okay, what are proper best practices for marketing and communications? Okay, what is this thing we're doing? Okay, it's an MLS system. What does that do? And they're going to learn, and like, okay, now what do you want me to do? Okay, let me do that, and then execute it, right? For sure. I mean, it could upend the way companies are. I mean, if that's what you're saying, I mean, absolutely, I agree. It could upend the way that companies are. I mean, first, I think it starts out with like what they're saying now is like it's less people,
Right.
but it could just blow up every traditional org chart we know, for sure. Absolutely.
And I think that maybe what part of the issue here is that when you think like MLS, like we're thinking about MLS that we're familiar with. They're large. They're, whatever, right? Okay, I get it. But as we've talked about, there are a whole bunch of MLS with like 1,000 members or less. Right? Like it seems to me if AI is like this really big important thing, everyone's thinking about agents going to use it this way, agents going to use it that way, or open doors. I'm like, we're in the MLS space. Like the most obvious thing is agentic AI to help the solo entrepreneurial CEO just run it, right? And I'm trying to understand what is it that you need a human for? at the MLS operations level, not decision making.
This is so weird because you were the one arguing that, AI is going to replace it. We need these people. Now you're saying you only need one person to do everything.
No. What I'm saying is I don't think AI is going to replace the real estate agent because the transaction is so emotional and people want approval, right? They want to talk to humans before they go spend.
In the case of running companies, it might kind of do that.
No, that's why I'm asking, like, what does an MLS actually do day to day on an operational basis, right? They do customer service, they do compliance, they do tech support. Like, what else? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's companies like Lundy has this product called Navigator, right? And Navigator basically is an AI kind of, I think they call it a RAG, which basically is a front end to a wrapper to an LLM.
Right.
And the data they're using is basically all the tech support documents about an MLS or about whatever products they have.
Right.
I mean, you can even point it to your MLS policies and rules and regulations, right? And then they attach that to a chat interface.
Right.
And now they only need one customer support rep just in case.
Right.
Instead of like a team of 70.
Right.
I mean, sure.
Right. And if you're a small MLS, the customer service rep is named the CEO.
Well, I wouldn't want that job, but yeah, sure. I mean, theoretically, you could do that, sure.
I mean, look, I've run into small MLS and associates all the time where the CEO prides himself or herself on, like, it's about the personal touch. I call back members, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Knock yourself out, man. Knock yourself out. Yeah.
And AI will now let you do that at scale.
Yeah. If for those individuals that want to be that person, yes.
Right. For that matter, I mean, what's a common, like you just talked about, the vendors in the MLS space, like they're pissed off, like it just takes forever, it takes so long. And look, one of the problems that we've talked about a lot is provisioning, right? Just literally getting the permission to get MLS data so you could, right? Well, if you have AI, agentic AI, like the AI is plugged into the rules and policies and whatever, right? So you just open up a chat window, say, hey, I'm Lundy, I would like to get access, right? It's okay, but answer these 7 questions. I answer them. Congratulations, here's your whatever, right? Here's your approval.
Yeah, to me, you're always presenting in front of humans that have a subjective opinion about whether your product is good for the MLS or not. I don't know that subjective, they would like accept an AI robot looking at a product saying this is good or this is not good, right? I mean, maybe some MLSs
I don't know,
do that.
but it's just, so when you think about like areas of the industry where the AI thing could really impact things, one of the top for me is associations and MLSs, right? And instead, we spend all our time talking about how agents are going to use it for whatever. And I'm like, but what they do is like deeply human. What the MLS does, compliance is not deeply human.
No, but you're saying associations, MLS, it's every company out there. They're just companies.
Correct.
So AI is going to impact every company out there for sure, right? And that's going to impact every industry, right? So that's where I get a little skeptical on some of these things. It's like, we don't even know what it's going to, look like in 5 years or whatever. I mean, maybe it forces consolidation. Maybe it makes another 1,000 flowers bloom because one person can be an MLS. I mean, who knows?
Right. I think it's the opposite consolidation, right?
It could be 2 million agents by 2030.
Who each have their own MLS.
Something, right? I mean, I don't know.
Agentic AI,
Yeah,
who knows?
something.
All right, I think that's enough speculation for one day. And the technical difficulties makes it hard to keep,
Yeah,
so,
this has been good, though.
So I don't know that we've covered ourselves in glory on this episode, but a lot of it is just technical difficulties. Do want to thank y'all for bearing with us through that. And CMLS was hot and sweaty, but great content. Yep. I will pass on the word. All
right.
And I think we have a special episode dropping next week. So
really special.
We will get with you guys the week after next. All right.
Absolutely.
And who knows how much the industry has changed by then at the current pace. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rob.